Alright, what is going on, guys? Hope y'all are having a great day. Basically, I haven't made a video in a while, and I actually just noticed that earlier this month was my first year of having this channel. I started it in April of 2019, and it was actually closer to the beginning of the month, so this is a little bit late, but who cares? It's close enough. But anyway, I was originally going to do this for 100 subscribers, but I kind of passed that milestone when I took a break for a while, and I just wasn't really in the mood to make a video like this. But recently, I've done some work on it, and I thought it would be a pretty cool video to make. So basically, this is going to be going over my setup, kind of, and my game collection, because I kind of have a small collection. I'm trying to build it up, but obviously with most things being closed right now, it's kind of hard for me to do that. So hopefully if stuff starts opening back up, I can go and buy new video games, buy new consoles, and stuff like that. So basically, getting into the collection, I guess. The first thing that I'm going to be showing you guys is all my consoles. So starting off, I have my Atari 2600, which I was actually given by my grandfather. I have a couple games for it. I've never actually used the thing because I don't have any way to connect an RF console to a HDMI monitor, so I need to somehow find a way to get like an adapter or a TV. I don't even know if they make adapters. I don't think so. So I'd probably have to get just an older TV or a TV that supports that input for me to be able to play it. And also I don't even have a power cord for it, so it's kind of useless to me right now, but hopefully I'll be able to play it and check out some of those games. The next one that I have right next to it is my PlayStation 3. The only reason these two are at the top and not in any of these little cubes underneath is just because they're way too big and they don't fit in any of them. The PS3 I've had for a while is actually originally my dad's, but he gave it to me when he got a PS4. This is one of the first game consoles that I ever actually played, aside from maybe the Wii. I can't remember which one we ended up getting first. But yeah, that was one of my first consoles. I have a lot of games for it, or at least used to. I don't know what happened to most of them, but I still have some of the ones that I used to play a ton. Then right below the PS3, I actually had my PS2, which I ended up buying a couple years back at a garage sale, I believe. It was pretty cheap. I don't remember exactly how much I bought it for, but it's one of the slim models. I really wish I got one of the original PS2s just because the slim model's really small and it doesn't really look great in on a shelf or anything, but it is the newer model, and I think some of the issues that the original one has that fixed, so it's kind of cool. The only issue that I have with this is that I don't have a controller for it. I have a couple third-party ones, but they're just complete junk. They're like half the size of the normal controllers, and they're really uncomfortable. So hopefully if I could pick up a PS2 controller at some point, I'll actually be able to use the thing. And I kind of have the same issue with my NES, which is sitting right next to it, where with this, I originally had a Retron 3, I think it was called. It was like one of those little remake. It's kind of one of those like knockoff NES consoles. I think I sold it. I don't know what happened to it, so I probably did. But it had two controllers that used just the normal NES input. So wherever I got my NES, I didn't actually have the controllers with it. But once I sold the Retron or lost it, whatever happened to it, now I don't have any controllers for the thing. So I only have like 3 games, so it doesn't really bother me that much, but it would be nice to find a controller. The only issue is finding a legitimate one is kind of hard because most of them are like aftermarket ones, which aren't terrible, but some of them are pretty junk from what I've seen, especially the ones that came with that Retron. They were terrible. But anyway, next to it is my Xbox 360, which I used to play a lot when I was really into Call of Duty. That was my main console for it, but I haven't really played it that much since. I think the last time I had it plugged in was probably about a year and a half ago. I have some pretty good games for it, but I don't know. I bought it for like $80 at a retro game store. I don't even know why they had an Xbox 360 because it wasn't really retro then. Still isn't now. But I remember I was originally going to get an original model Xbox, but there was something wrong with the only one that they had, so they gave me the Xbox Elite. And like, I'm not going to complain. I got a way better Xbox for the same amount of money as an original, so that was kind of cool. Next up underneath, I have my Nintendo consoles, or at least the GameCube and Wii. The reason why I have them right next to each other is because, I mean, they're basically the same console, and also they fit really nicely in the same little section, I guess. But yeah, my GameCube, I really wish I had more games for it. I only have one. I remember I used to have at least like 5. I don't know what happened to the rest of them. I probably ended up selling them at some point. But before I had a GameCube, I just played the games on the Wii, which was alright. But I really just wanted to get a legitimate one, which I found it for 25 bucks at a garage sale, so obviously I'm gonna buy it. That's a really good deal. And also the Wii that's in that same section there, I've had that one for a while. That was one of my first consoles, aside from the PS3. It's the exact same one that I've had ever since. So yeah, I've played a lot of games on that thing. Like I said, it was one of my first consoles, so I had a ton of good memories playing games on it, especially Mario Galaxy, one of my favorites. But now, on to the next one, I have my Nintendo 64, which I think I ended up getting for like a birthday gift or something a couple years ago. I don't have that many games for it. I think I only have like 2, 3, but I'm hoping to get more. I'm basically just saying the same thing for every console, but my game collection isn't really the greatest. Next up, I have my Sega Genesis, which I ended up buying at a retro game store for like 45 bucks. And I have the first 2 Sonic games for it, and I remember I used to have like some motorcycle game, but I don't know what happened to that cartridge. I don't think I sold it. I probably just lost it. It wasn't really that great anyway. I found it at like some antique shop, but yeah, I like the Genesis, but I kind of wish I had the first model one just because I like the look of it more. The second model just kind of looks boring, and also the Sega CD add-on is really ugly for the second one because it makes it super wide, and for the first gen, the Sega CD add-on just kind of goes underneath it, and it looks a lot better in my opinion. Some people probably disagree. I don't know. But now that's all of my actual consoles, so going on to my handhelds. At the top I have my Game Boy Advance SP, which was actually the first retro console I bought. Or I didn't buy it, I got it as a gift for my birthday, but I don't even know why I asked for it. It was kind of out of nowhere. I saw it on YouTube or something. I'm like, hey, I want a Game Boy, and I got that with like the first 2 Mario Land games. Sadly, I lost 2, even though that's like the best one. But I got it with like the first 2 Mario Land games, and I think some other like GBA games. But yeah, it is the first model one, so it doesn't have the real backlit screen, which is kind of sad. But I mean, it's good enough. I do want to try to get a full collection of all the Game Boy models, like the Game Boy Micro, Color. I want to try to get like a Light or a Pocket, even though those are super rare. But I don't know, it would just be cool to have like a whole shelf of Game Boys and stuff like that. Then underneath it, I have my DSi. That one's not my original one. My original one I dropped out of my cart and kind of shattered the screens and broke it. I think I still have like the pieces to it in a box somewhere, but it does not work. So that one I think was my sister's that I ended up just taking. Underneath it I have my original 3DS, which I used for a little bit, and then after a while I got my 3DS XL, which is underneath it. Sadly, I can't use the XL anymore because the SD card slot for whatever reason broke, so getting it replaced probably wouldn't be super difficult. I don't know how to solder, so I can't do it myself, and I just haven't really felt the need to like get it fixed because I don't really play it anyway, and I still have a 3DS that works perfectly fine for if I do need to play any of the games. Okay, so that's all of my consoles out of the way. Now I'm going to be showing you guys my shelf full of games. But basically, starting off on the first little shelf there, I have all the Atari games I was given with the 2600. Like I said, I haven't played any of these. I really want to try some of them, like Adventure and Berserk. I've heard some good things about some of these, so I definitely want to try it. I also have the original Pac-Man, which is awful, but like I said, would be a cool thing to just try out, maybe even for a video if I could find some way to capture that. And then right next to it, I have my NES games, which are actually in a 3D printed cartridge holder, which I modified to be modular, so I could just print a new one, clip it on, and then have like 4 more slots for cartridges. I might post that on Thingiverse at some point because some people might might actually be able to use it. Then right next to it, I have my one GameCube game, which is Legend of Zelda Master Quest. I've played it a couple times, but I don't have a memory card for my GameCube, so there's no real point. Next to it, I have my PS2 games. Not the biggest collection, but, you know, there's some pretty good ones, like Need for Speed Underground and Burnout 3. Then next to it, I have my PS3 games, which I actually have the most of, aside from the Wii, which kind of shows that that was, like, one of my first consoles. Most of these are kind of like casual games. Like I have a ton of Guitar Heroes and Rock Band games and stuff like that, but I do have like Burnout Paradise and some Call of Duties, which are pretty good games for it. Especially Burnout Paradise. That's one of my favorite games of like all time. That was the first console I ever played it on. Then onto the next shelf, I have more PS3 games, basically just like Rock Band and stuff like that. Then I have my Xbox 360 games, which I thought I had more of. I don't know where most of them went, but I only have like 10 games. Some of them are pretty good. I got Halo 4, which isn't the greatest, most of the Call of Duties, and some Battlefield games. Then I have my PS4 games in these next two shelves. I don't really have as many of these because I don't really play my PS4 that much. I mainly just have like Call of Duties and stuff like that, just because those are the only really like modern games that I bought for these consoles. I don't play PS4 anymore, but when I did, I basically only used it to play Call of Duty. So yeah. Now the next one that I have here probably has some of my favorite games on it, and it is the Wii. I have games like Sonic Colors, Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Paper Mario, Smash Bros. Brawl, stuff like that. I got a ton of really good games for this. And I've been thinking of maybe even doing like a game review series, which if I do actually end up doing that, I'll probably review a ton of these games because I have some really good memories playing a lot of these, and they're really fun. Then next to it, I just have kind of like random stuff. So I have a ton of PC games, most of them older. I don't even know where I got them from. I think they were just kind of sitting down in the basement. I know I got Need for Speed Carbon and Unreal Tournament myself. I think Unreal Tournament I found at like some random antique shop. I don't know why. And then I have Sonic 2 for the Genesis, which I really like the cases for all the Genesis games. I feel like they're more well made than like the cases for, you know, newer games like the Xbox and everything. They're like these big cases. They look really cool. And I don't even know where I got that from, but I'm actually happy that I have the case with the manual and the cartridge and all of it's working and in really good condition. Now next to it, I have my DS games, which I know for a fact I have at least 3 times this many games because I played so much of the DS, but most of the games I probably either sold at garage sales or lost, because I mean, the cartridges are literally the size of a quarter. They're super easy to lose. Which I have a stack of just empty cases of cartridges that I lost in my closet. So that's kind of sad. A lot of the really good games I lost too, like Mario 64 DS, Super Mario 3D Land, games like that. And I only have 4 3DS games still in the case. Most of these I lost. I have no clue what I was doing. There's got to be some like cartridge holder that has like 15 games in it just sitting in my basement somewhere because I don't know where any of these went. And I know for a fact I had way more than 4 games for the system. And then down underneath it, I just have some random like DS game cases and things like that. But to the left of it, I have my 4 Switch games, which 2 of them are kind of like random games that I don't even play. But then I have Splatoon 2 and Xenon Racer, which are pretty good games. Xenon Racer was really poorly reviewed when it came out, but it's gotten way better. Next to it, I have more of those 3D printed cartridge holders that have my Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, and that one there. And then to the right of it, I have my Nintendo 64 games, which I used to have 3 of. I don't know where the third one went, but I have Mario 64 and Star Fox 64. Okay, now that I've gone through all of my games and consoles and everything, now to show you guys where I spend most of my time, which is at my desk here. The desk itself I ended up getting at a garage sale for I think like 20 bucks or something, which was a really good deal because, I mean, it's a huge desk. It fits everything I need to fit on here. And it's way nicer than the one that I used to have, which is about a third of the size. But anyway, starting off from the right, we have these speakers here, which I set up. They were in my basement for a while, so I thought I might as well set them up and hook them up to my monitor so then I could use it for like, my consoles and everything like that. And they work pretty good. I got 4 of them on the desk and then a subwoofer underneath. But yeah, basically all I gotta say about that. To the left of it, I have my Oculus Rift and these 2 little knuckle grips that I have, which help out a lot in games like Boneworks. Not so much in Beat Saber and games like that, so I have them off most of the time. But for games like Boneworks, they're really nice to be able to like take your hands completely off the controller without having to worry about dropping them. But yeah, I also 3D printed these really cool like wall mounts for the controllers and the headset. I found it on Thingiverse. I'll link that down below, hopefully, if I remember. But I just put them there because I didn't like it taking up a ton of space on my desk, and I thought it would look really cool, and I think it does. I mean, I like how it looks. So anyway, from there, going to the left, you guys will see my main setup, I guess, or my main area. I basically just have 3 garage sale monitors. This should be a common theme that you guys are noticing. Most of my stuff comes from garage sales, but I mean, they're 1080p 60 hertz monitors. They work fine for me. My main one's the only one that's probably better, which I also got a garage sale, but that one was 10 bucks. The other 2 were 5. But I don't really need anything crazy just because I don't play any like super competitive games. Like I don't play CSGO competitively or anything like that. Most of the time I'm just kind of sitting here watching YouTube or playing like Burnout Paradise and, games like that don't really need a super crazy, refresh rate or input delay or anything like that. But for a keyboard and mouse, I'm using both Corsair things. I got a Corsair, I think it's a K58, could be wrong, but it's the red one, so the only color it has is red, which is alright. I'm not really that into RGB, so it's fine. Just having some type of light there so I can see it in the dark is really nice. But yeah, it also has the Cherry MX Red switches, so it's way nicer than all the keyboards I've had before, which just had cheap membrane switches. And then I have for a mouse the Corsair K65 RGB, which it's not the newest version of it. I know the newest version has like some better grip material on the side, but this one works fine for me. Pretty comfortable. It has some nice lighting. I don't know. It's also pretty cheap. I think you could get it for like under 50 bucks. So if you're looking for a good wired mouse, definitely pick this one up because it's probably the best one you could get for the money. And then just behind everything, I have this little IKEA light strip that I can change the color for. It's nothing crazy. I just have it here just to give it a little bit more character, I guess. I don't know. Then for a microphone, I'm using a Blue Snowball Ice. I got it for like 50 bucks with a pop filter on it. The arm is super cheap. I don't like it. And so is the pop filter because like it doesn't stay in place, so I have to make it go over the top so it doesn't fall down. But it works fine for what I need. I used to have it a lot closer, but I thought it just looked nicer having it behind the monitor. And then over to the left, I have this Lamborghini Veneno RC car. I don't know why I have this. I just thought it would look cool on my desk. And then behind that, I have my Nintendo Switch dock with the Switch in it. And then I have this 3D printed little controller grip that's actually super cool. I 3D printed it a couple months ago, and because I don't have a Pro controller, I end up using it a lot, and it's pretty comfortable, and it's easy to slide the controllers in and out of it after you mess around with it a little bit. You kind of have to break it in by just like pressing the controllers in, taking them out, but after a while it gets pretty easy and it works great. But anyway, now kind of going on to like my actual desktop. So lighting isn't the greatest, so you might not really be able to see it. I don't have any RGB or anything in it, but it was originally an iBuyPower pre-built, but then after I ended up upgrading it, and I think the only thing that's still in it originally is obviously the case and the hard drive, because I've changed basically everything else. So it has a Radeon RX 580 graphics card. Not the greatest, but it's good enough for what I need. The CPU, I just actually recently upgraded it like about a month ago. It is a Ryzen 5 3600 with a Corsair H60 water cooler on it. it keeps the temperatures relatively cool, and it is pretty quiet. I do probably need a new water cooler at some point because the temperatures do get pretty high if I'm like stressing it a lot, so I can't really overclock this CPU as much as I'd want to. It was good for my Ryzen 3 because that doesn't really generate that much heat, but the Ryzen 5 definitely does, so I might need to look into getting a new one. And then I just have some random hard drives. I do need to get an SSD at some point because my computer boot times are terrible. It's like 2 minutes almost. But yeah, that's basically about it for my computer. Nothing crazy, but it's pretty good. I've upgraded it every couple months, maybe once a year, and it's pretty decent. It's definitely a lot better than it was when I first got it, but it can play most games other than like, you know, super demanding ones on the highest resolution. And obviously I can't do like ray tracing or anything, but for the games I play, it's more than enough. But yeah, that's basically about it for like my entire setup. The only thing that I didn't really go through is my 3D printer, which I just set in my closet recently because I rearranged some stuff in my room. I'm probably going to try to find somewhere to put that. I might end up putting it on my desk, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video at all, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. If you want to check out any of the models for the 3D printed parts and little stands and holders that I have throughout the video, make sure to go check them out in the description. Hopefully I remember to put the links there. If not, someone remind me down in the comments. But yeah, also before I end this video, I was talking about in my last one how I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to come back to YouTube. I'm still thinking about it, but now, I mean, I don't really have anything to do with my life because I can't go outside, obviously because of like coronavirus and everything. So, I mean, maybe I might start making videos here and there. Definitely also, if you go on to my main channel page and you scroll down, you'll see a playlist there of stream VODs. I've been streaming some games with like my friends. I found something called Parsec, which lets you like play local multiplayer games online. So we've just been playing stuff like that and doing some streams of that, and then I upload all the VODs onto my second channel, which is linked there. So make sure to go check those out if you want more regular content from me. I don't think I'm going to be actually making videos that often. But then also, if you want to check out my stream, it's twitch.tv/HavocsYT, so you can watch, me do those streams live. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video at all, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.
I'm all alone again, out of my own again, running from home again. You always telling me you can do better, shut up and show me then. I don't got time for this, I laid on the line for this, told you in confidence, all of my secrets and all of my woes. You took all of my soul, I'm on the road.